You're like, check.
Well, we do have one section.
All right, back to the come to order. Secretary call roll.
So it's not too bad because it's just different courses. Oh, okay. You ready?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yes.
Oh, yep, Chris, calling the meeting to order. Here we go. It's 1 o'clock. Sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, let me do real fast. All right, Chris, here. Sarah, no. Tanner, no. Derek, yes. Steve? Michael?
Present.
Letha? Treva? Here. Elaine? Here. Rashmi? Annette? And Brent. Do we have enough? We do have enough.
We do have one more.
Okay.
Barely.
Let's take a look at the minutes real quick, and I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second? Second. All in favor? Minutes are approved. We're going to step out a little bit, but not really out of normal order, but just a little bit. What I would like to do, we've talked about this the last couple of times we've met, and that is, and I think everyone's been fairly in line with this, and creating a new officer's position for Senate historian, someone with the idea that they would be a college president nominee that would, according to the new law, would be able to be renominated for 6 years. Since we have a quickly rotating Senate now, we all were discussing the idea that it would be a good idea to have someone who can help out when half the Senate goes away every year, and let them know what the committees are supposed to do, what their roles they're supposed to be, and sort of keep that institutional knowledge at hand instead of all of us having to wonder what we're supposed to be doing. So Tina Babb is going to come in a few minutes, and I thought it would be a good idea to to vote on this new officer's position because she would be working with this person if we decide we would want her to help us out that way. She deals with institutional history from various different things, from all the way from accreditation to just other departmental things. She takes care of that. So she's going to come in and tell us how she could help us along those lines. And then Frank Sobey will come in after her to tell us what he needs to tell us. But I would like to entertain a motion to create this new officer's role.
I have a couple questions before we do.
Yeah.
You said it would be a 6-year position, but it's renewed every 2 years. So is it a 6-year position or is it 2 up to 6?
It's the presidential nominees are yearly nominees.
Okay.
Elected senators are 2 years. So this would be someone who is nominated every year for up to 6 years.
Okay.
And then they have to sit out. Now, obviously, if the person is like, I can no longer do this role, you could have an election to come in. I've spoken to some other past senators like Renee and Nathan of their interest in becoming Senate historian. Also, we would want possibly someone who is a senator right now to take that position to, after having experienced everything that, basically we're a new Senate. So all of us are about as expert as we can be for this. So when it comes to elections, which we're going to talk about after Tina and Frank come in, we can talk about who we might want to look for this role and the type of person that we would want in here. So
Yeah, and would it be one of the Senate positions for the particular community or something like that would be taking that role? That would be another question too.
I think it doesn't matter on the community. I think it's just,
No, I'm just saying that like, for instance, Renee, if Renee decided she'd like to come back to it, that would take a position out of the business community to that for 6 years, right?
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
Because basically what we need to do is enter this into the bylaws if we vote for this position. And so that's something that we can put in there. Do we want it to be, I don't think it should count against a community's number. I think it should be sort of extra
yes.
senator.
I like that.
Unless someone thinks differently.
Yeah, it'd be a long
Just for the length
time.
that kind of, sounds good.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna make a motion that we add the position to the list of officer positions that are currently in faculty senate.
that are currently what?
That are currently on faculty.
Oh, you made the motion?
I make the motion.
Okay. Well, one other
Before we
point
go there? Okay.
before a second. There are also officers' positions are given a,
Stipend.
release time?
Is it release time or stipend? Yeah.
Yes.
Release time.
And one of the things I've been thinking about for a while is, well, this historian who's going to be, potentially for 6 years, what kind of release time should they have per year? I think we go 3, 2, 1, 1 in terms of
Probably
release time.
I would say probably a 1 also, like unless we think it's gonna require more demand in terms of managing everything, then maybe 2.
I would think 1 though. It sounds, it's, until we get what the role is and actually lay out what the responsibilities are, I don't think we would know that. But it seems to me, the current people that have a 1 hour course release, Pam puts a lot of work in as a secretary, right?
She does,
And so, but it's for that limited amount of time.
Yeah. And the other thing that we have to do for that in particular is we would have to take that to the Board of Regents. I guess we can go ahead and vote on the motion as it is, and then we can come back to elaborating on what the position would be and how it would work. And we just probably need to have that done before the elections committee figures
say
out the
probably
new
by
election
March.
process.
And I can draft a bylaw amendment.
Okay.
Just because I didn't get enough time with the bylaws.
Right.
I was like, she's done a lot of work this year for sure. I was like, this one, she took it, you know, thinking it was the
I was
easy
like,
one.
oh, this is the easy spot. And they're like,
Okay, let's, Tina should be out there. Maybe not quite yet. If she's not, then would you take?
Do we want them to serve as like a non-voting member?
She might be down.
Oh, no, that's an option.
Because if they're not with a committee,
We could talk about, maybe one thing that we have to look up to.
If it's not community-based, then would they be a non-voting member? That might actually.
just to avoid.
This is, I'm going to be here, Tina. We don't have that little cool witness table right there. See, sit wherever you
We
like.
don't have the firing squad table is what we're.
We'll just drag one chair into the center.
You want to be right there in the center? There you go. I love that, Tina. I know you would just love to be there, right?
So Tina, we just voted on and approved the creation of this new position for Senate historian that would be that in that position for up to 6 years, but as a presidential nominee for the Senate. So you and I have talked a couple of times about what you might be able to help us with in terms of keeping the transitions between as new senators come in smooth and keeping all the new sort of documenting that we have to do, easy to do and whatnot. Just recently, this is a good example, Tina, that West, for some reason, over the course of the holiday, the questions tab in our webpage where someone goes to give an anonymous question to the Senate, reverted back to the old officers just out of the blue, which, they're good people, so we're not too worried about it, but it's also, there's an anonymity problem there when, I don't know why that happened, but it's difficult to get it fixed. And that's one of the things I would hope that you would be able to help us with, those kinds of web and email issues and all that kind of stuff that we have to deal with. So please let us know.
Sure, I have several examples. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget anything to share with you all. I mean, most of you know what I do already for the college, which is basically what you're needing for this role is to secure, document, and preserve the institutional knowledge of faculty senate. And I do that for the entire college for SACS accreditation, but also other areas of compliance and legislation. So I'll go through a few examples because I'd be happy to assist Senate to preserve this knowledge and also provide you with what you need. And of course, access to whatever I need access to. Of course, that's entirely up to you all. And of course, at any time, if you want to take away access or provide more, that's fine too. It's entirely up to you. So as many of you know, I'm very process oriented. So I've been keeping the records of the college since 2017. We go back further when I was a registrar, and of course I had experience there as well. So I document every aspect, service for SACS accreditation, also legislation. Every March, so next month I'll be collecting annual evidence for SACS accreditation. I use Google Drive there. I work with 10 committees that have internal SACS committee chairs, and basically we collect evidence annually to be prepared for any sort of visit, report, not just SACS, but anything, which was helpful when we had Aspen and those visits and reports because we had the information already. So I'm a huge proponent of always being prepared. Also, I work with technology, so I work with our Zytrack software for accreditation. I work with IT on building repositories. You mentioned your website. I work with IT for an institutional effectiveness repository. So I built that in 2020 with IT to hold all things assessment, accreditation, program review, and which academic leaders and faculty may access that. Also, I've been maintaining and securing all the files related to the Institutional Review Board, or IRB. And I am getting more into that and working with IT to create an online website repository such that you may need with Faculty Senate in this role to use an authentication process to access that website, that web page, and to be able to see all the IRB files and research that we've done over the years. Right now, I'm keeping IRB files in email folders and then like the network drive. But I'm one person. Of course, if something happens, you need to know where to find that. So we're trying to build a repository for that as well. So I keep all that documentation. I'm also currently working with Bob Austin on our main legislative notices page on the AC website, where we maintain compliance for any Senate bill, House bill. I've been doing that since 2017 as well. So yes, I'm savvy with technology, Google Drive, platforms, designing websites, controlling or maintaining the access to those sites. I'd be happy to help you with that process of not only onboarding members every 2 years, but the rotating off, and what does that mean in terms of documentation and preserving knowledge and providing access. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about what I'm currently working on when it comes to areas of compliance and also documenting for the college. And you could ask me when certain sites were created, I could tell you that. So I know a lot of historical knowledge for the college, and that's what a lot of my focus was on when I was the director of IE, is just maintaining that institutional knowledge. And so I could also, this is actually not my idea, so I can't take credit for it, but you mentioned questions, and Frank and I were talking about this. We could also create a database of sorts to populate all the questions and answers that you have in Senate sessions over the years. So if it I have, as far as my experience, that I've been working with the institution accreditation and compliance for at least 9 years now.
Yes.
Have questions?
I guess I would wonder, in thinking about, when we talk about the role, what is it that this person would do, I guess, in terms of, would they be the one that made sure, you guys we got the email, the DL changed, those kinds of things? Is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking, I guess, a little bit more about, if Tina is, really talking about, securing documentation and ensuring compliance with policies, essentially is where we're at. What is our need? What is our linkage to Tina? How is it that we utilize her best?
Primarily, I think it's mostly working through like the Google Drive and helping maintain that, even though that we were kind of like working with like the secretary. But I think because the secretary transitions out, it's going to be easier to have this historian kind of manage the Google Drive and help with the transition of like kind of dipping their fingers into all of the different
Just an understanding of
officer,
everything.
yes, the officer positions to kind of assist.
Because we've done a cleanup.
Right.
But that cleanup was just putting stuff in.
Yeah,
folders.
and
It
so in
wasn't-
order to maintain it,
Mhm.
we kind of need somebody to oversee that side of everything.
I would assume it's offloading, some, if not all, the administrative tasks, and just make sure that is kept, constant and ongoing basis.
I mean, I think when you look at the Google Drive the way it was before,
Yeah.
It was so pretty.
you see that a
We're
new officer crowd would come in and they would say, okay, well, let's put this over here, let's put this here, or whatever. There was no consistency to where anything was, or if it had been kept up over the course of the years. And that would be a huge help with that. I think one of the questions that, as I recall, we talked about at the beginning of thinking about the new position as Senate historian was
the relationship between administration and faculty in terms of our independence and the things that we would want to be sort of confidential faculty discussions and things like that. In your position, how does that work in terms of keeping that kind of confidential information of the Senate protected from whomever?
No, that's entirely what you all would dictate to me, like who has access to particular information. As far as that was one of my questions, if I'm to be present in any faculty senate meeting, for this role, what does that look like? But in terms of access, that is what conversation that we'll have, who has access to the materials. As far as what I hear in meetings, yes, that's kept with me. I see everything at the college and it stays within my office. I see everybody's evaluations, including the president's. All of that stays with me. And then of course, if you wanted something, Google Drive or beyond, I would help authenticate that to only those that need access.
Well, I think we think of the Senate historian, right, as kind of a liaison for you. So you wouldn't have to be specifically at meetings all the time to sort of keep that. But this new position would be the person who would give you the information that you need to know, and then you would, keep it for so that the new position would be that person that would be the go-between, I think, with you. And we don't have any money for salaries, so we would have to go that way.
Yeah, volunteer, community service.
Any other questions? Okay, well, we're in the process. We just voted purely to create the position of Senate historian. We're going to spend some time maybe today, but in the upcoming couple of months to hone what that position actually consists of and put it in our bylaws. And when that happens, is Frank out there?
Yes, Frank's out.
Thanks.
Shall we ask him to come in?
Please. What did you call this table? I call this a witness table.
The firing squad.
you've been pretty nice so far.
Funny to do that, put a pack of cigarettes right there. One last cigarette.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, Dilly?
You're snazzy for a Friday.
Well, had some stuff going.
Okay.
I have
stuff. I know, that's why I'm saying, I noticed that this morning at our other meeting, I thought,
Yeah.
it is more,
But I like the purple socks. That was fun.
Oh,
it's nice. I didn't even notice it. Okay, sorry.
I know you have some stuff to go over, and we, the questions committee met before Senate, and we have a couple of questions for you that came out of that. So please go
yeah,
ahead.
so I'll start with some low-hanging fruit. I just had a couple of updates for now. One is it's that time to start filling slots that are going to come available next year on committees. And I was pleasantly surprised to learn from Sherry that Rashmi's already well ahead of the game.
Yeah, we decided.
Yes.
I've
I was like, what do I do?
No, I mean, you've already got the list and Sherry's updated it with which faculty are rolling off, so which slots you would be responsible for. And I know she's updating the tracking document that's in Google Drive. where you have a list of all faculty with their recent committee assignments, where they are in terms of rank and tenure. So really, in terms of a timeline, that's in the council's and committee's document. So the goal would be to have all of that locked up on the faculty side before y'all leave for the summer. So ideally in April, but May also works.
That's our timeline.
Okay, April or May?
To have it done before the May meeting. So like
Perfect.
coming into the May
Yeah.
meeting would be, people should know that they're going to be on.
Okay. Well, I think we're in a good place with that since y'all are on the ball. So short update. The other update is on Tuesday, I'm going to Austin for the General Education Curriculum Advisory Council. This is the council that was put together by the coordinating board in response to Senate Bill 37. And I talked about it last time I was in here with y'all. There's a big push to reduce the Gen Ed core, primarily for the purpose of facilitating transfer and eliminating a lot of the issues that students face going from a 2-year to a 4-year or from a 4-year to a 4-year. And I believe at this meeting, I'm going to get a lot of clarity on what ultimately is going to be recommended to the legislature with a reduction in the Gen Ed core. And it is going to have an impact on every public institution in Texas. Hopefully it will be a positive one that minimally affects us in terms of instructional capacity and that sort of thing. But my plan is I've got an issue of the VPAA newsletter ready to go out, but for that one piece. And so after that meeting, I feel like I'll have some clarity and I'll use that newsletter to provide y'all hopefully with a very comprehensive picture of what we're looking at, as well as some clarity around the likely implementation timeline, which I hope would be minimum 1 year, but hopefully at least 2 years, because it's going to be a substantial lift for registrars and financial aid offices and advising offices all across the state.
Well, I think, so you'll let us know basically what goes on in that particular meeting, right? Because the next week I'll be down or over in Dallas for the TCCTA meeting, and I have a 3-hour block that I'll be with Beeman Floyd, the lobbyist for TCCTA, to discuss upcoming legislative issues. So if we had the heads up for that would help me out with some of those hours to be there.
Sure, Chris, I'll give y'all as much information as I can. Our institutions, and they've said yes. So, there's nothing that's confidential, but it all comes with a caveat because the council makes a recommendation officially to the coordinating board end of May. But then over the summer, the coordinating board is going to put together their recommendation package to go to the legislature. So there could be some things that change after the work of the council concludes. So nothing comes with a guarantee, but I do feel like I have a good handle on where we're headed, and Tuesday will hopefully confirm that, at which point I'll feel pretty good about letting everybody at AC know what we're looking at, and then the likely challenges, and especially what it means for our programs and our faculty, both part-time and full-time. So it should be a good meeting. And then the other two things that I kind of had in mind, don't forget the AI survey deadline is today. So you should have received an email with an opportunity to complete that survey. And just to expand upon what I included in the email with the link, we're going to use that data to create a workshop later on this spring that will be faculty driven, but facilitated by me, Becky, and Lori to really figure out what you need from us and where we need to go with AI. And the inspiration for the survey and the lead up to a workshop really is courtesy of Chris, who provided me with the results of an AAUP survey across the country about how faculty are feeling, particularly in terms of the rate of change with administrative decisions around AI, the presence of and sometimes the lack of technology tools, privacy concerns, professional development, the whole gamut. So just want to make sure that before we break over summer, that I have some kind of strategic plan coming from faculty about what all we need to do for next year. I mean, realistically, that's kind of what we're looking at. But if there's some technology tools that we need to get college-wide licenses for, we can work on that over the summer, so forth. And then also wanted to see if y'all had any feedback on the evaluation instrument for the BPAA that I gave to Chris. Is that something you want to talk about, or?
Did I distribute that? I don't recall. I thought I did.
Okay, that's okay. I can talk about it and we can revisit it. So I want to distribute a BPAA evaluation instrument. You've done this in the past with Dr. Clemens. It goes out really to the division full-time. And you've done this for Becky Burton. Some of you have done this for Tina Babb, if you sort of cross into her areas. And I looked at the evaluation instrument. It's okay, but before I did anything with it, I wanted to get faculty senate feedback on whether you think it's adequate, whether there are any gaps in it, if we need to change some things up, if we need to add some questions, retool the metric scales, maybe emphasize more qualitative opportunities to provide feedback. So I've given that to Chris for y'all to review. And then I would take your feedback, build out the revised instrument, and the goal would be to distribute that later this spring. And then I would spend this summer going through the survey results, building out kind of an action plan. And then when we come back in the fall during the faculty meeting, I will have prior to that distributed the results in their entirety to the faculty. And then we would talk about it as part of the faculty meeting. And just a lot of it depends on, what the results are, but just full transparency. So that's kind of the goal with that. And then the other thing that I thought we could talk about today, if you would like to, is the syllabus statement that I drafted. Yeah. And I brought copies of what I drafted. I'll distribute them if it will be, or do you all already have it? Okay. And I just want to say from the outset that not only is this a draft and the culmination of concerns that I've heard from a number of faculty across several programs and conversations that I've had with Chris, among others. I'm not attached to any of this, right? So this is to get the conversation started, okay? What I think we hopefully can all acknowledge is that many faculty have concerns about course content that's a part of the approved course descriptions in our statewide course inventories, and the possibility that it could give rise to student complaints, et cetera. And so the need for some kind of syllabus statement or statements to give faculty confidence about the courses that they are authorized to teach is needed. I can share with you my perspective. I think it's far more efficient, expeditious to have something that's common to all syllabi. That's fairly broad because you don't want to provide a roadmap for complaints. But it has to be something that does give confidence, provides some protection, and most importantly, this is the most important point, I think, that is closely connected to what is already authorized by the state and what we currently have in our board policy manual. And because we have our own institutional context, what is made explicit in our academic affairs manual. So that's kind of where I was coming with this, but you are not going to offend me if, say, Pam, you say, this is garbage. We need something totally different. It's like, okay, that's fine.
What is the driver for this, Ryan? I mean, obviously it's the situation at Texas A&M. I mean, we know that, but what do you want from this document, this syllabus statement?
Well, okay, what I want from this document is actually different in one respect from what faculty with whom I've talked want. What I want is for faculty to be confident in the classroom about the material that they're presenting, right? Like, I don't want you to have anxiety or fear, and I don't want you to worry about your leadership not supporting you, right? So I'm coming at it from an administrative perspective. Now, if I put on my faculty hat, and if I recall the conversations that I've had with faculty, I really think it's, being able to focus on the instruction and the student engagement without having any of this stuff operating as a threat in your mind, and it's not equally applicable across all programs. I mean, there's obviously some hot spots, classes that are in the humanities, certain classes that are in STEM are going to be more susceptible to being exploited by students wanting to complain, or people in the community frustrated with what may be taught in a class that deals with human biology or human psychology or something like that, So I'm not going to speak for y'all, but the reason why I'm trying to be proactive with it and just trying to move this along as best I can is because I want to get to a place where, not that you won't stop thinking about it, but you feel better about at least where I stand, where your academic affairs leadership stands, where the cabinet stands, where the president stands. So I think I want to work on a statement, if we're all in agreement that we need something that you're good with, that I can take to cabinet and we can go ahead and get in our syllabi as rapidly as possible. Yeah. But you're right, it's the A&M thing, but there's other issues that have popped up. And, Senate Bill 37 really doesn't speak at all to course content. But that isn't always like how it's interpreted, And not everybody outside of higher education understands how we arrive at the classes that we're authorized to teach, right? Like these are courses that have been decided upon by the state. And we have lower division course guide manual called the ACGM that we have to pull from. And these courses come with descriptions that we didn't write and with student learning outcomes that have been vetted. and that we're responsible for, and we build assessments around them, and the content we select and the way in which it's delivered and how we assess students' proficiency is directly a response to what the state has given us. So how could it be in conflict with other legislation? Well, of course it can, but.
But we're getting it from the state. Yeah. no,
Yeah, state, that's right. Yeah. And there's obviously some guardrails. I mean, there are responsibilities that all faculty have in the classroom with how they teach and the latitude they give students to engage and how to respond and so forth. And there are certain protections that faculty should enjoy in terms of what they do in the classroom. So it's a balance,
In a situation, let's say there's a hypothetical university about 112 miles away that has an administration that has taken a particular topic and said that this topic is a no-go on this campus, right?
And we're going to purge our inventory of any.
Right. And so when you have this statement saying you're going to be following the ACGM, that's not in the ACGM as far as I know for any class,
that you can't teach that topic. So how does all that work
Universities don't
together?
have the ACGM though.
What's that?
Universities don't have the ACGM.
Well, it's true, yeah,
Yeah, the universities have a lot more latitude and
or less.
in course creation, in the state of Texas, this actually is connected to the work of the council that I'm on too. We don't have a required TCCNS or Texas Common Course Numbering System, right? Everybody kind of does it their own way at the 4-year. You look at A&M's catalog, you look at UT's catalog, it's all different. There are differences within systems, right? So the A&M system, even across courses, like the engineering course at West Texas A&M is different from the engineering course at A&M. So it does get confusing. And when you talk about the Gen Ed core, the Gen Ed core it comes from the ACGM. So to that degree, 4 years have to honor what we are held to, those first 2 years of courses, but they do have a lot of latitude, yeah. And these, whatever the case is with these purges of these particular 4-year institutions, it is the case that some of what's being purged at these institutions is a part of the courses that we teach from the ACGM, so.
What do we do about that? Assume there's still an equivalency?
Well, I can tell you what we are pushing mightily for in this council, and that is a universally binding and applicable general education core that every public institution in the state is required to honor, no matter where the courses are taught, as long as it's public, because we can't reach into the privates, and that would settle a lot of things, right? But currently, there are certain 4-year institutions. We have some alums in this very room.
We do, and that's okay.
Institutions.
It was a good school.
We do what they want. They do what they want. And the math that we teach is not good enough for them. So our students have to take their math, even though the math that we teach comes from the ACGM, is in the core, part of the mathematics core component area. So. But Chris, I have no plans to purge, if that's what you're asking.
One question I have is, how do we define academic freedom? Because like, I don't know if we have one, like, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think about all the sides people can kind of come from. So if people have different definitions of what that includes and excludes.
Yeah, first, the cynical part of me would say good luck.
I know,
However,
I know. I'm just trying to cover all the bases.
I would encourage you to go to the Academic Affairs Manual
Okay.
and look at the section on academic freedom,
Okay, perfect.
which relies heavily on the 1940 statement that came out of the University of Chicago, and which has been subsequently reauthorized and revised by the American Association of University Professors. But yeah, I think it's AAUP. There's another organization too that's done the same. Now, I think people have a much more expansive view of academic freedom than what the 1940 statement actually gets at, which is really more about freedom in the classroom, freedom of research, freedom of opinion, perspective, and so forth. It really doesn't limit, for example, my ability as the CAO to require a department to go through a course redesign process, right? Although it would, if we're honoring it, restrict me from requiring you how to redesign it and what to put in it, right? So there's always going to be like fine lines there, but our board policy manual also speaks to academic freedom. In fact, in the statement I pull from it, faculty members are entitled to academic freedom in the conduct of research and teaching and are tasked with the associated responsibilities. And I think, I can't remember, it's been a while since I looked at it, but if you go to the online board policy manual for that section, there's the local policy, right, which is specific to us, but then there's the legal framework. And I believe it references the 1940 statement. So it actually gives a lot of protection.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if we put this in our syllabus or in all of our syllabi, we might add in some links to those other documents, just that might explain.
Yeah, that would actually-
For example,
Yeah.
like, for example, I mean,
That's
just
true,
to
yeah.
link those things so that we could look a little bit more at what we're saying about academic freedom or, the quote where you got it from, and then put a link in there for that so that
Sure.
there's a little bit further information, just a suggestion.
Yeah, so we link out like the student rights and
Good idea.
responsibilities, this would be a great spot to do.
Yeah.
Take it out.
Yeah, I mean, we could even do the same with the ACGM. I mean, not just our internal documents, but also the external, which,
But those change. They keep changing where the work comes at.
yeah, that'll solidify soon, but it doesn't need to go directly to it. But if it goes to the coordinating board website where those links are available, yeah. Yeah, but you're right, the WECM one it's a moving target.
Bookmark it and then it
But-
changes.
But the WECM one is not really even on my radar. It's really the ACGM stuff,
We don't change this.
It's speech classes where gender communication theory. Do y'all want to kind of spend some time with this, do your own workshopping and then get back to me?
Honestly, I think it's all of our marks. I mean, just updating the links.
No, I don't see anything in this.
Looks super solid.
Yeah, said add in some links and I think we're good.
Okay. Well, Mark is probably going to say it's too long.
Mark is gonna say it's too long. You can say, well, they don't have
But-
the syllabus anyway.
I mean, if you're good for me to proceed to the next step, then I'll
Do we need
Send
vote
it to
on
him, I'll take it to cabinet, we'll have a discussion, and if there's any kind of substantive change, then I'll circle back with y'all.
that? Chris, do we need to vote
Through
on
Chris.
this? Do we need to vote on this?
Do we?
I don't think so. It's just a review, right? I think we have to vote on the final
Yes.
before we actually put it in the syllabus, right?
I mean, I assume that we'll be able to, you know, if there's anything that we want to add or a question that we can bring it to, but I don't think we need to actually approve it or anything.
Well, I'll touch base with the Senate through Chris after cabinet's had a chance to look at it. And when I take it to cabinet, I'll let them know that you've already looked at it and feel pretty good about where it is. Post cabinet conversation, that I'll circle back with y'all before we pull the trigger or the lever. I should say lever, safer. Okay. Questions? Did y'all have questions for me?
We do. Let me see where I have them. These came in, members came in from, into the question thing that worked for a minute and doesn't anymore. But I got them forwarded to me. So these are things that the officers get together to protect the anonymity of the person sending in the question. And I think I've even mentioned a couple of these to you, but the first one, actually the first one is something that I think you can provide some insight into this, probably should go to Dr. Connor about in our meeting next week, but it's about the $5 million was taken from the Amarillo College benefit plan and added into the college budget. And there's something to do with the way that money was supposed to be invested and go back into our retirement plan. And so the question was that $5 million, would those funds not be payable to the employees who had contributed to the ACBP through the years? To the best of my knowledge, ACBP was sunset in 2023 and Power was onboarded at that time. So there's a question, kind of a complex question about $5 million retirement account, but I think that's probably Dr. Connor question, right?
Yeah, I don't know the answers to
Right.
that. I'm sorry.
I think I mentioned that one to you, right? There was a question from faculty member who said a faculty hire had just left HR orientation and learned that their health insurance coverage wouldn't begin until April 1st, 2026. While I understand there's a process, our new faculty was officially offered the position in October 2025. Is that process appropriate? I guess the person's asking if there's that delay in insurance benefits.
Let me make sure I understand. So this faculty member was hired in October
Yes.
of last year.
Offered in October,
Offered.
is what it said, right?
When was
Offered
the
position.
effective start date?
What is
I'm
the
sorry?
start date?
When was the effective start date?
Well, I don't know that. It's not in the question.
Okay,
Well,
so,
if their April 1 is when their benefit starts, it probably was January,
Mm-hmm.
right?
yeah, first, I would, this is HR. So I would direct it to Dr. Coleman. But just thinking about it, an offer date really doesn't mean anything. It's the effective start date.
Okay.
Now, what kind of delay there normally is upon effectively starting and your benefits kicking in, I don't know the answer to that.
So basically go to HR and ask them how
Yeah.
quickly benefits are supposed
I
to.
think it's
I would assume it
I'll
would
say it's a
be.
90
I think it's
day, I
90
remember.
days.
I had
Mine
it
was
too.
90 days back when I started. I mean, it's 90 days.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And it sucked. We didn't have
that's not
insurance.
new, but
We didn't have
that's,
insurance for 90 days.
that's what I was thinking. It's not new
And
because,
this has been that way all along.
but I understand the freaking out. I freaked out a little bit too because I
Yeah.
I had a whole family that was under my policy at the high school, and then I had to go find a little gap policy to get me for 3 months. So I understand the frustration, but I mean, that's not a new policy. That's not a,
And
Yeah.
not
That's
responsible
not
for
a
the questions that
need.
come in.
I know, but exactly, it's just, that's not a new
Send her-
policy.
Send it to HR and we'll answer it.
Yeah, I think there's merit to, officially getting kind of the typical sequence of, when you start, when benefits kick in. So at least you're disseminating that to faculty officially in your minutes, so everyone's made aware. But yeah, I don't.
And this one is probably exactly for you. And it's come up from a number of different directions. It's about the wait list being taken away from in registration. I guess.
Yeah, I can talk about this one.
Yeah.
So just from a couple different sources, we've had some issues with like students who want to be able to be waitlisted for courses that fill rapidly, mostly like
A&P.
A&P.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think all of the waitlisting abilities were shut off during COVID because of
Who knows? But they've been on for a while.
but they've been gone since then, and they haven't really been introduced back. But we used them, and that filled in all of the gaps, and it wasn't just like luck of the draw, who was like refreshing at just the right time.
Piper, what do you mean when you say you would use them?
Oh,
Like, you would-
like we wouldn't use them, but like right now, like we get student emails at the beginning of every semester all the time that's like, can you fit me in? Is there anything that I can do? Can, like, you ask your department chair if they can approve me getting in to this course because of X, Y, and Z. And we get
Yeah.
4,500 different reasons. And again, it can go into favoritism land with like students.
Sure.
And then other students get upset about it and they're like, man, all these classes were full. And then somebody's like, oh, I got special permission to enter in. And then it can like,
That's not good.
it's not good. And it can kind of fall back again on faculty when it would be easier to have like an equitable way to do that. And I think wait lists are the best way.
So, couple of responses. Academic affairs, leadership has basically a monthly collaboration meeting with student affairs, enrollment management. We kind of each compile a list of issues that we're seeing, working with the other, and then we get together and then we square off in the cage and we duke it out, basically.
You win.
It's a pretty bloody affair. So I'm going to put this on Bob's and Ernesto's radar,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about it. I don't know the story of the wait list, so I'll have to get back to you. But really, it's going to be student affairs, enrollment management. But I think pretty sure we meet with them next week. I mean, I'll be out of town all week. I'm going to the Austin meeting, and then I'm going to the Community College Bachelor's Association Conference in Long Beach, which we can talk about if you want. So I'll be out, but Becky can certainly talk about this and bring it up. So let me just write a reminder. The second thing I would say is, obviously with A&P in particular, but also with some other biology classes, they fill up so quickly. And there's so much opportunity to expand based on the enrollment, except we also reach our capacity with instruction, largely dependent on the number of instructors we have and their willingness to take on an additional load or double load. But the other limitation we have too is lab spaces.
Correct.
We don't have enough. So even if we added more faculty, it wouldn't matter because the biology faculty, basically those labs are locked up. From morning
They're always going.
until the campus closes.
Yeah, no, they're super full. So like, again, I don't think it's asking for more classes or more instructors even, like.
Just the process of how do I
Just-
know when that spot becomes available?
Right, and just letting the students have the opportunity to say, I want to take this class if somebody drops for whatever reason, and it'll get auto-filled. I think that's the main concern. I don't think we're complaining about
Like
like
capacity limits.
reaching, like, I totally get all the capacity limits, like a fire codes, like, especially in the labs that have gas and have all that kind of stuff, like, completely understandable. But I think it's just the option of the wait list, just to give students
Sure.
that kind of reassurance that if there's a spot, first come, first serve.
Well, we're looking at possibly being able to add an additional lab.
Yeah, where the old science testing center
We're
was.
looking at it. And
Please help us.
also to increase instructional capacity.
Yeah.
Now, that answers the issue, not the primary one, but it could provide some relief.
Correct, yeah. That's great information, thank you.
Yeah, the waitlist also helps in terms of, not for A&P and all that, but other classes.
Yeah.
If you kind of know how many are on the waitlist, we can plan out for the next semester
Or you can open another section if you do have
and
capacity.
open up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a wait list
Word of
capacity,
mouth,
yeah.
okay, there are so many more students
there's
that want to
more
be in the class.
Yeah.
And we don't know for sure that they are really interested in taking it. And then we open up and then it doesn't fill out.
Yeah, I would
Like, it
say,
helps.
I don't know what Reg Hub's current capabilities are related to waitlisting and how that works, but I do know that one of the issues historically has been with waitlists. Students waitlist on many, many classes, so it isn't always easy to know which are the primary, which are the secondary, which are the tertiary, right?
But they used to be given 1 day to respond. If their turn.
Yeah, they were on the wait list,
They
they
get
were
a day
here,
to
they had 1 day to respond, if they didn't
The
respond.
spot was
then-
held,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm guessing, that was in the old planning. So I wonder what Reg Hub, that's our new student planning.
Well, Holly said they're supposed to have the capability to do reports where they can actually look at a class and say, this is how many people should be enrolling in this class in this semester. But that reporting capability is not working right now.
Oh, yeah, so that's the forecasting.
The forecasting, and she
Yeah.
said that the forecasting's not working right now.
Yeah, no, that's something we're looking forward to finally working, because it's going to help department chairs and program coordinators immensely with planning for future semesters, and then being able to identify instructional needs early enough in the budgeting process. Yeah.
So I don't know if the reporting, something like waitlist is part of the functionality that just isn't there yet.
It may be, but we'll talk with Ernesto and Bob, because really they're the ones who can answer it and at least provide a rationale for what we don't currently have, if that's the case, or it could just be an access issue. I mean, I'll just see. We'll find out. So we'll get back to you quickly.
I have another.
What? Go ahead.
You and I know about it. It was the email that we were going back and forth on that the registrar was sending out the who's late on.
Oh, yeah, that's resolved, right?
Well, I actually went back to my notes before the meeting. The last thing that we talked about was Becky said that some of the deans want the registrar to send that out. And that was the last thing, was that we had talked about, we were going to come and we were going to talk about it in front of Senate. That was the last thing I had in my notes that we did it. So we're still at a point where the registrar is saying that the deans are asking her to do that. And so I went, I don't know, my last response to Becky, I think was, well, we probably shouldn't be doing that still, that it should just go to the leadership
So
team.
we just didn't close the loop.
We didn't close the loop, and so I just didn't know where that was. So,
Okay.
we did not get one this semester, so it was better.
Yeah, I think we're good because
Are
I
we?
think that was the conversation.
Okay, and we didn't close the loop on it, okay.
Get on the side of faculty. on
Yes,
this
okay.
And let the deans go fishing.
Yes, thank you.
But
Because I was going, well, the deans can run the same report that our secretaries run and yell at us about, so it's like, this isn't something that you even need to get from the registrar. It's in college, just run the report.
But yeah, it's fair to ask for official confirmation, so I'll get that for you. But
Just making sure.
yeah.
Because the last thing I had was that Becky had said that the deans had told the registrar that they wanted it. Is that your last remembrance, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. Frank, we do have one thing on the faculty committee thing, and Rashmi and I were talking about it the other day,
Sure.
is we do have to change the faculty senate section.
Yes.
And so we're going to work on that before we do everything else.
Okay.
And once we have that, we'll make sure that Sherry has that and can share it with you
Sure.
to make sure, but it's going to match now what we have in the bylaws and everything for the Constitution.
Perfect. Thank you for doing that.
So that's the only thing I think we're going to be changing on that committee list this year.
I also have how many spots are gonna be available.
You
With all
have
the
them
people
looking
rolling.
up.
Oh, but no, for faculty senate. Yes, for senate, yeah.
With all the new spots that we're adding also.
Yeah, okay.
I have numbers.
Oh, you do?
I already did it.
Good, we don't
I
have
can
to,
share.
thank you, give it to Rashmi.
I will.
I started working on
And
it.
that
with
is
committee, how many
exactly
spots are there?
what we're going to take up here in a moment. Frank, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Enjoy your trip to Boston.
Weekend.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
weekend.
I appreciate that. I will enjoy Boston. The weather's nice. Eat about 100 tacos,
Yeah.
starting in the airport.
Thanks, George. So, yes, so I was, it was lovely to hear that you guys were already in the committee job. I brought copies
Yeah, I saw that.
with all of that.
That's
So that, you can tell
Is
that's
this-
where I was headed.
Is this the newest one from Sherry?
Yeah. And so, as you just mentioned, really the Senate elections and that aspect of the committee are tied together because we need to, the elections committee needs to start thinking about how we're going to roll out this new election. We need to have the election in April so that we bring in the new senators in May. That's the primary function of the May meeting is this sort of transition period there. But according to our new bylaws,
We have to
there's
rotate.
going to be a number of changes that we have to make in the way we do the elections, including the way we're going to choose folks. And this is where the committee comes in, I think, folks who want to be presidential nominees on the Senate. So there's going to be a group of people. We need to somehow choose or elect the people who would be presidential nominees. And they're on for 1 year. This is where it gets crazy in the next few years. And then the elected ones, according to our bylaws, which are weighed by community, right? Those elections need to take place. When we came in September, some of us were presidential nominees and some of us not because we were in our third year. So I think.
Or even second, because I was second year and this is going to be my last year.
Right.
Yeah, mine as well.
So it's.
Right. So
be second one.
I can't remember, can you remember in 37 if there's a time that senators have to stay? I know for the presidential nominees, after 6 years, they have to stay out for 2 years.
2 years also for the elected positions.
It is 2 years?
Yes.
Okay.
So we see, we're going to have a kind of, I don't think it seems complicated when I'm trying to think about how it actually works, but I think that if the elections committee can get together and take those bylaws into account the way we have them and understand that we have that other section, one member from each community that will be a presidential nominee for 1 year. And then we present that to the president, say,
here's our suggestions for your nominees. That's what she has agreed to.
Correct.
So could we, when we do the elections, because you're going out to the communities to do the elections. So do we say, okay, we need people that are going to be on a 2-year term and people that are going to be on a 1-year term? Maybe-
So I
Maybe at the
think
election level?
what I was kind of thinking in my brain, and I don't know if this will work, but is that we go for, like, we send out the emails to each community to see if anybody would like to run for faculty senate. Then depending on how many people we get interested, run the election for those. And then if there's any people remaining, or if we need to send out another email to ask if anyone is interested in a 1-year appointment, then we do.
So
So that's a timely process, though.
It is,
And
I know.
This is your job, right? Because aren't you doing elections this year?
yes.
Yeah, I was, yes, I went back and looked at when Sue, but I'm being recorded and I hated to talk. I'm sorry, I guess was under, Sue sent these out last year, but it seemed like there was some duplication of stuff.
There
So
was.
So I'm trying to make sure that because I don't want to step on and I don't want to double do.
I stepped.
Oh, no.
Well, no, it was my error. And what happened last year, just for the people that weren't here, we redid all of the committees last year. And as part of that, Treva and I thought, okay, we got to get this done because we changed it to communities. And so we sent out information as part of the form where people ask, say what committees they want to be on. We included faculty senate on that. We are not going to include faculty senate on it this year. So it will have everything for the committees except faculty senate, and you'll handle doing faculty senate.
So I pulled up Sue's, Dr. Vandergrift's from last year. She emailed on April 14th. So I've got that. I mean, yes, I was on top of,
But I think that's too late.
that's why I was seeing where we need to.
Well, it's pretty much brand new. I mean, we haven't,
I think
I
the
don't
process is
think you
changing.
should be too concerned about the former way we did it, because this is going to be just a brand new thing, and it's something that we need to figure out quickly
Well,
so that we can
should
have.
we put it on the form for the committees and then we share that information to him? I mean, because that goes out and we're going to have a deadline on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I-
we're planning to
I
send
don't
it
know.
out early March. So he should have that information.
yeah, I
Then he
mean,
can use that to email them.
I thought it was strange that it was on the committee form
We didn't
anyway,
know. Yeah, we just didn't know.
it seems like it should just be taken out. The
That's,
faculty
I
senate
think it should.
I think it
should
should.
be
That's my
just
preference.
totally
Yeah, I just
an
think
independent body, right?
that's what I think. I think it needs to be its own entity and not part of
Yeah,
the other things.
just the way it's always been.
Yeah, so.
Just screwed a question.
Yeah, so I think we recommend that the committee recommend to Frank that we take out faculty senate from that. So faculty senate will be a standalone issue when we're coming to elect who's on it. Typically in areas, and particularly now that we have it weighted the way we do, we might not even have, there might be an area that has three people that need to be brought in, and you only get 2 people who are interested. And so haven't we just typically in areas, I only know from ours, it's just that, okay, you can do it.
Yeah.
If there's not elected, but if there's
It's a voluntold.
if there's multiple people if there's extra people, then an election has to take place, right? And I don't know how that's going to work now that we have the weighted area and then the nominee area. So it's just something that we need to decide, the clearest way of getting it done.
So in the past, it was the dean or the division chair that let the faculty know that there's a position and if they're interested to send them an email, right? So we're going back to that same.
Well, I don't know, because not always.
Because sometimes not all faculty get to know. There's one opening there.
In our department, it was always done at a department meeting. Like, okay, somebody's got to volunteer to go to Senate,
Right.
you know, kind of.
No, we.
Ours were
have the
email.
one.
Yeah, ours was email
No,
too.
when I became senator, it was, we were all in one
Yeah.
meeting. And Renee was going off and they're like,
Well, I mean, I think we should just think of it as, we're the body now that's going to decide the way this is going to work now. This is brand new. We just need to figure out what the easiest, clearest way for, and most equitable way for all
I
areas.
just want to make sure that all faculty are aware of it,
I
that they
think
can be part of it and not
Yeah, but
just
they're like
absolutely
aware.
agree with that.
select and handpicked ones.
It should be, I think it should be
open to
cut loose
everyone.
from chairs and deans. We don't,
Yes.
we already have presidential nominees. We have basically a deal with the president to take care of this. We don't know if that will happen forever into the future.
But it's in the bylaws.
So it
And
is
they have
there.
to-
So,
it's in the bylaws.
so what, we need a system that's going to work regardless of that, how the nominee thing turns out. But just that we go and we get senators in here based on the number of the weighted number for the community, and then the number for one each for the presidential nominee. And then after next year, if we set that up correctly, it should be just understood, I mean, how it works. So, I mean, I think you should feel free to think about it and set it up the best way you think it'll work out in relation to the bylaws that we approved in whenever that was, September, October.
So the question was, if I go after and send out an email, right, and asking who's interested in
Well,
being part of this. Yeah, you know, you gotta be full-time, you gotta be whatever.
you got to be committed. Going to the meeting.
Yeah, you put down,
But
Basically, we need to come up with a letter or email that goes out to everybody, same email to everybody, saying, here's how many people need to be from these different areas. As senators in our areas, we should be responsible for letting others in our department know that that there's going to be openings and they should come in. If they want to be on the Senate. It's only a 2-year thing now, so maybe it's not as, or one, depending on the situation. But I just think we should think about it as a brand new thing. It should be a Senate-driven election and recommendation for nominations, and that's that. And we get a letter, one size fits all, and get it out to everyone so that we can have an election in April.
yes. And we can also, look at, if there's more nominees for one community, we can look at how many years they've been here. And all of that can become a factor in picking instead of saying, okay, someone pick. And when I say someone, I mean the administration.
Well, there's going to
I'd
be,
rather it be open.
right, yeah, I totally agree. I think there's going to be two situations really, right? A community doesn't have enough, enough people who are interested in serving on the Senate, or they have too many and we have to have an election. So the decision is, there's all of them in an election and then they get, I don't know, what's that way? They've always talked about a better way to run elections.
Oh,
where
ranked,
you-
ranked.
Yeah,
Organization, first choice, second choice, third choice.
correct.
Ranked choice voting.
I mean, that calls on the election committee to have to do some fancy thinking to
Figure out who it is wins the election. But I think we'll probably run into a situation where we need more than we
It's kind
have.
of what, usually
Right.
we need one.
I mean, I think that's probably what will happen most of the time. But we need to set up a system for an election that works if there's more candidates for the positions. So if you guys, as election committee, just kind of think about it and think about what looks like a good, efficient and clear way to proceed, then next meeting, we'll get together and
That's for Rashmi. Send that to Rashmi.
then we'll,
That's number two.
then we'll get together and, talk about it next time, and then we'll be set up and ready for an April election.
You're welcome.
we might be able, I don't know, do you think? Yeah, I guess the election would happen after the April Senate meeting, so.
Speaking of April Senate meeting, it's currently scheduled for Good Friday and we won't be here.
Okay.
Oh,
So what are we going to do?
change it.
How far into the, well, it's the first Friday, right? So I guess, should we just do
The next.
Second
Second
Friday.
And then push back our.
But I noticed that I was going and doing my calendar for the semester and I was like, oh.
Yeah, April 3rd is, yes. So it'd be April 10th.
So then we'll also have to push back
Okay.
our faculty officer
Okay,
meeting
well, I'll
with
tell,
Dr. Cox.
Jessica's been the one that's been reserving everything, so I'll tell her.
Yeah, but it's gotta be moved.
Does Michael need this or do?
No, that's for us.
For
That's,
us.
That's
is that just Senate?
Yes, Senate
Say
spots.
faculty Senate spots. So
That's it.
There you go.
That's how many spots are available for election appointed.
Yeah, we're just, all we have to do is rewrite our text. He's responsible for the names on the other side.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so, I mean, as I said, we just need to think of it as a brand new deal and one that will work forever, if possible. And committee, let me just, so that's basically elections, legislative committee.
Asanda,
And we're
get
done.
with you on this committee.
TCCTA reps, Sangha and me, I will be going to the TCCTA conference, and as I mentioned, I have to be in some kind of legislative session with lobbyists. I'll report back of what goes on there. We have, I think Robert Fulton is going because he's on Legislative Events Committee, and Sarah Welsheimer is going because she, unlike Robert and I, well, I guess I have something to do, but she actually had a paper chosen by TCCA to deliver, so she's going to be doing the real work. How about Mead Board? Do we have anything?
So went in and looked at the timeline and everything, and we need to start working on that. Usually the beginning of March is usually when we send something out. So I've got to get with the other people on the committee, but I talked with Skip and it's a very straightforward process.
Right.
The question is, it had come up that, did we want to change anything related to that? Because there've been some concerns of some faculty basically advertising that they wanted it.
Right.
And I've been thinking about that, and I would take suggestions if anybody has them. How would we change that? I
How do
don't
you
know.
handle it?
I don't think you do. I don't know how you do.
We boo and hiss. when
Who
they're-
in his, yeah, I mean, but I don't know that it's a controllable factor.
That-
It
The
is, but
only
it isn't. The thing about, if you're soliciting an entire class and they're, for example, giving extra credit, you're gonna see that that person has 27 nominations or
Right.
something like that. And so there could be, I
Maybe.
don't know, could we
Maybe
inquire?
could change something to the suggestion form or like the nomination form.
Of were you encouraged to do this, or is it, you know?
Like, if
I think
saying,
that's just kind of,
I know it's kind of cringe, But we could also like collect more information about the people doing the nominations. Like,
But it's, well, maybe.
because is it anonymous?
No.
No, so like we should,
That's what I'm
like, if
saying.
that means if we're getting more information, like we could look at their class schedule and see like who they're taking. And like if they even took this professor, or like if it's a whole bunch that were in the same section, but again.
I know, you could look at the schedule to see if they're all,
But it
how do you
feels
do that?
icky.
I know, it does.
And
It
that's-
feels icky.
It feels icky, and I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, it feels icky.
Yeah, it seems like you couldn't really have any kind of, in an official capacity, decide, oh, this person can't, because
Right.
it looks like they
They
really.
actually might be a good,
Right.
Unless you limit, but I don't think you want to do that either, that, a single person will only consider, 5 nominations for the same person. So even if they get 27, only 5 will
Well,
be considered. I don't know that you want to do that. That's what I'm saying.
Because then like,
Everything
what if
is
they're
just-
really good and lots
I
of people
know,
are like.
everything is just,
It's icky.
it is. I don't know how to fix it either,
But
but
it's also icky to give bonus points or extra credit.
to try to get an award. Yes.
Question,
If that.
were you
comes
given
to
extra
the-
credit to,
I guess you
Submit
could.
this?
You could, and people can lie.
they can, but
But-
at least then,
but I don't even want that.
I know.
I
I
know.
don't want that on the need form. That diminishes it so.
Yeah.
much.
I know,
When
it
you
does.
get the nominees, how do you decide? I've never known what the
Okay,
process is.
so what happened last year was Skip got the nominees, and we had them all in and we went through and we read all of the nominations. And the committee then made recommendations to the smaller, the actual meat committee that's in here, right? So the faculty senate meat committee kind of curated it.
Right.
And we curated, what we thought needed to go then to the main committee.
So, I would assume those factors come into play when you're making that decision, right? You can kind of see something and kind of like, oh, that looks wonky to me.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe it would be. And you just see that they were all in this one section. And so when you are deciding, that could be part of just what you are using to decide. I mean, honestly, to me, that would be the most fair way to do that, is to just, really, you could probably easily look up to see if they were all in a certain section at a certain time. And so, because, and just, take that into consideration when you are deciding who receives the award.
So I have a question.
That's
Is it
most,
possible that if you feel there's a suspicion that all of these are from one class, is it possible for you to email one of the people who put the nomination and call them in to ask
yeah, I
them a
wondered
few
that too,
questions?
but I don't know.
Is that something possible?
Or what about send them a survey without the teacher knowing, and were you asked for?
See, that's just always so hard. I think it just needs to be on the committee, and you just have to look and see, and it just needs to be part of the process of deciding who receives the award. To me, that would be the most fair, without adding, I love all these ideas, but they're still just kind of, do we really want to contact a student? Do we really want to have
This
this?
meet, right?
No,
Faculty, you get to vote for
no.
something?
We don't nominate. It's nomination only. Mead is nomination, and then there's a Mead committee.
But we get to nominate, right?
We cannot nominate someone.
I was gonna
Yes.
say, send it where the teacher doesn't know it's coming, but no, that wouldn't work either.
Okay, we'll move forward with the process.
yeah.
We'll do it in the evaluation piece.
It's just-
Professor Emeritus Saga just left. Have you done anything?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay. That's a bit behind schedule. Faculty survey? No? I apologize if, Frank, the thing that he mentioned about the VPAA evaluation. I received that, I know, but I think it was before Christmas. I think it was before Christmas break. And I may have thought that it was a thing that he sends me a number of things that he just wants me to look at, and I may have thought, he was just wondering what I thought of it.
Fair
And
enough.
so what, I'll get back and I'll go back into my emails and try to find it and I'll distribute it.
It sounds like it's something we need to work on quickly.
Yeah, see, yeah, so and I apologize for dropping the ball on that, but I do get a number of things that I don't know how I'm supposed to distribute.
Sorry, Chris.
So I will definitely, when I get, I'll get you that today. Hospitality, we have no hospitality today.
I know.
I've dropped the ball.
Okay.
You know, Grace. Next
I did too, because I didn't
Next month.
talk to anybody.
We should have the drop the ball award.
We should.
We do.
Yeah, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
Professional standards and relations, that's us, but we never hear anything about that. Faculty development, that's me. I haven't been called in. Well, that was ACES. So that's done. Let's see, instructional technology, I don't have it, no one's contacted me about that. Committee appointments, is that the difference? What's the difference between,
I think committee appointments, I think that's the committee.
that's committee? We should just
The
call it
committee
that, it makes it clearer.
Faculty committee.
That's the one.
I know. That's-
Yes.
As good as we're gonna get for now, right?
Yeah, and I think the idea of having a historian kind of come in, but we try to put kind of in place what hopefully everything makes sense.
Okay, so there's just a few things that we have hanging out there. We've got to get the elections put together, the committee bit, this evaluation, VPAA evaluation. What else do we have that we need to?
Well, we just changed the meeting in April.
Right, March is Dr. Connor's time to speak to us, so our next meeting, she will be coming in and talk to us for a while, so, go ask your constituents things that you want to ask the president and bring those questions in for next time. But we should probably for March, we should get reports back on those particular things, right? Is there anything else that we need to do or anything else that you all have heard of that we need to address? Anything for the officers who will meet with Dr. Connor next week? Anything you want us to ask her? Okay.
Is the HR freeze ongoing?
What's that?
Is the HR freeze ongoing? Do we know?
As far as I know, it is, yeah. Frost, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
Anything else? Somebody want to move, we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I say.
All in favor?
Produce this document.
What's up?